3 minutes, we're gonna be over the Embarcadero.
And?
And we're gonna drop into AT&T Park.
But I don't know how to parachute.
That's okay, we're gonna tandem jump.
I think we should just stay with the plane.
The plane's gonna nosedive in the Pacific as soon as it runs out of gas.
Okay.
Trust me.
Oh my God!
Ready?
Do I sound ready?
Yep.
So we started talking about San Andreas. How did you first get involved with the film?
I auditioned for it in LA, where I live, and as I got further and further into the process and continued to audition and meet with people involved in the film, I just got more and more invested in the movie, and it was really a dream come true to actually get the role. Very surreal, and I had the most amazing time shooting it.
I was doing a play at Lincoln Center in New York in a totally different world, and I got this script, and, you know, when you're doing theater, it's all very, you know, it's tiny, and you're in this intimate space, and then I read this movie that was like opening up the world, and I knew it would be spectacular visually, and the fact that Dwayne was playing this role was really exciting to me because it's such an amazing role for him, and he and I had worked together before and love each other, and I just was really excited by the whole team, and then when I got to about 3/4 way through the script, I was extremely moved, and that surprised me that there was this intimate kind of emotional connection in this massive movie. And I actually was shooting in Vancouver at the time, and I flew to Miami to screen test with Dwayne, and sort of by the time I had left Miami, it was the right fit, and we were going to do it. So.
How did you first come to get involved in the project? When did it first come into your life?
Bo Flynn, the producer I worked with on Journey 2, brought me the script after Journey had come out. And so it needed some work, but the idea of doing a big disaster film was pretty cool. It was a pretty awesome idea. And even at the core of that, there was an even better idea, which was the story of a family. You know, so there was the big scale and all the set pieces, but there was an intimate element that you don't always find in these scripts. And that idea of this family that was falling apart and how they put themselves back together, that's what kind of drew me in. That's what really kind of hooked me, beyond the, you know, the promise that I get to like destroy California, which is obviously pretty fun. There was an emotional quality. And for me, when I go to make something, the most important thing is that emotional quality, because I go to the movies because I want to feel something. No matter how big the movie is, the more I feel, the more successful I think that movie is. So this script had the potential to do all of it, and it was, you know, I couldn't turn that down. When you first got the script, were you kind of daunted by the size and scale of it? Because it's enormous, isn't it? Everything about it's enormous.
It really is enormous. I think I was more daunted in the actual doing of it when I was there, just visually and sort of the stunts and all of that. I think when I read it, I just was a bit more like an audience, just thrilled, just taken on the ride.
Yeah, I think when I read it, I was like, I want to be part of this. Mm-hmm. This is awesome. And then when you actually are there working on it, and it's you realize the challenges and the difficulties, and it's you know, a project that you've undertaken, and you meet the challenges head on, and it's really amazing to actually be part of something like this and accomplish what you sought out to accomplish.
What's that noise?
We're not high enough.
Get down! Get down! Take cover! Hold on tight, Ollie!
Everything about this film is huge. It must have been a big task to get it done.
Yeah, it was exhausting. I feel like I may still be tired from doing it, actually. It was really, really challenging. The thing that I did is I prioritized the cast. You know, it was one of the first conversations I had with Dwayne and with Carla, where I said, you know, the most important thing here is actually not the events that we're depicting, but the people within the events. So what I need to do is I need to keep my eye on you guys, and I need to make sure that we're really clear about how you feel within these moments, because that's what's going to make this valuable. And it completely altered the way I approached making the movie. I went for as much realism as I could. I went for as much in camera as I could, and I know there's obviously a lot of visual effects, but all the wind and rain and dust and rocks and ceiling tiles and water and all that stuff, that's all shot. Like everything with the building sinking, there's no visual effects in it. It's just in camera, you know, and that's because I wanted performances and I wanted to make it feel visceral and real and grounded and make you feel something because they're feeling something. So it was a big task, and there's a lot of moving parts and spinning a lot of plates, but at the end of the day, when you just choose one element, I chose the performances and the cast, and so that's what kept my compass pointed in the right direction at all times.
What was the toughest scene to shoot? Because there are some big sequences and a lot of stunts.
I worked in a water tank for a large period of the movie, and that was challenging, not just the physical aspect, but also just being freezing cold and how, you know, complex it was, and how complex it was to be working underwater with the whole crew. And so that was a challenge, but it was totally fascinating at the same time. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, and I would say physically the most challenging for me for sure was the entire rooftop sequence, and also because there's that exquisite shot that Brad did that, you know, just doesn't stop. Funnily enough, and you probably never would think this, but on an emotional level, the fact that my character is introduced with another man at the beginning, and yet ultimately you also really want to understand the connection between her and Dwayne's character. That was a really complicated little scene to play, as much as it seems like the family's just standing around talking. In regards to giving the audience a sense of who she is, why she's made that decision without any of those things being explained.
What was the most challenging sequence to shoot?
They were all super challenging.
Yeah.
There really wasn't. There was no like one thing that was like, okay, like put it in perspective. It was shot for 72 days. One day was one person talking on the phone, and that was my vacation at work day, where Dwayne comes home and is having a phone call. Beyond that, I would show up to set and we would smash a helicopter into a building, we'd sink a building, we'd jump out of a plane, we'd crash a car. Like every day was crazy complex, like we're driving a boat into a building today, you know, like, so every single scene had something to it that, oh, it was either like, I've never done this type of camera move before, how do we do this? Or I've never driven a boat into a building before, how do we do this? So the whole movie was incredibly complex, but at the end of the day, like, I really love how dynamic the movie feels, and for all the hard work and sleepless nights and all that stuff, it really adds up, and now I have a movie that I'm incredibly proud of, and I wouldn't change anything about it.
Everybody down!